It's the early morning of the 18th of December 1944, and a column of German tanks is tasked with capturing the Belgian town of Stavelot. SS Obersturmbannführer Joachim Peiper is in his King Tiger. His plan is to rush the bridge, but the Tigers are too slow. He needs fast cavalry.
Bring mir Panther!
A pair of faster Panther medium tanks pulls up from the line. Their commanders are ready for orders. Peiper has to get through Stavelot and secure the bridges further on if the Battle of the Bulge is going to be successful. He orders the Panthers to charge and take the bridge at full speed. The Panthers roar and lurch forward, accelerating down the main road. They turn a corner at high speed, firing wildly across the river. But the Americans are ready. The Germans speed into the crosshairs of an American 57mm anti-tank gun. It fires and strikes the lead Panther towards the rear, damaging its engine and stopping it, dead in its tracks. The second Panther races past the smoking wreck. It turns towards the American anti-tank gun and charges. The gunners dive out the way as 45 tons of steel charges into them, smashing the gun. The Panther crew quickly reverse back towards the bridge and speed across, all the while drawing the fire of the American defenders gathered on the other side. Heading into the main town, the Panther crew roll into the path of a second American anti-tank gun. The German tank commander quickly shouts to his machine gunner, and he instantly spots the threat and rakes the American position with the Panther's machine gun. Under heavy machine gun fire, the American crew managed to get off a shot. But even at this close distance, it misses. The Germans fire an explosive round at the American gun from point-blank range. The shell streaks over the Americans' heads, deafening them, before slamming into the ground behind them. The Panther tank crew are already charging the position and drive over the anti-tank gun, crushing it. With the American defense crumbling, Peiper orders his King Tigers to roar to life, and one by one, they cross the bridge. They need to capture the American fuel dump. Peiper's mission is to push past Stavelot, but he needs that gasoline. But the Americans have other plans. The commanding officer of the American forces is Major Paul J. Solis, and he desperately tries to coordinate a defense. But seeing the German heavy tanks crossing, he knows he has to retreat.
All units, evacuate the town.
But Solis is no fool, and in retreat, he makes sure to deprive the Germans of their much-needed gasoline and orders the fuel dump to the north of Stavelot to be destroyed. Peiper is furious. He needed that American gasoline. In addition, he was hoping reinforcements would have arrived by now. But the company of Tigers commanded by Obersturmführer Jürgen Wessel has been held up further south. With the dump to the north destroyed, he makes the decision to range to the west in search of more American gasoline. Peiper has his group of King Tigers line up and carry on their advance, leaving Stavelot in search of fuel. His impatience means he leaves the town of Stavelot defended only by German soldiers. The German soldiers are ordered to wait for more Tigers to arrive and to set up rudimentary defenses. They're digging in when the sound of tanks is heard. But their hope turns to despair as they realize the sound is not Tigers from the south, but is instead coming from the north. On the hill overlooking the town, a column of Shermans, M10s and infantry arrives, and from the higher ground, they start shelling the German positions in the town. The Germans desperately radio for reinforcements, and the transmission is received by Obersturmführer Jürgen Wessel, who commands the long-awaited company of King Tigers to the south of Stavelot. Wessel tells the soldiers to hold on. He's only hours away.
Unsere Männer brauchen Verstärkung.
Maybach engines roar. They arrive in Stavelot as the battle is still raging. Wessel immediately orders his Tigers to push forward across the bridge, with him in the lead tank. The convoy approaches the bridge, but an M10 on the other side of the river is watching his every move. Fire! A shell strikes Wessel's Tiger on the mantlet. The shot detonates the shell within the Tiger's breech, damaging the gun and causing the gun to recoil into the tank, slamming the loader in the stomach.
Los, vorwärts, wir sind ungeschützt.
The King Tiger accelerates forward. With multiple streets to choose from, Wessel makes a split-second choice.
Nach links.
But he chooses poorly and has ordered his men straight into the sights of another M10 tank destroyer. It fires its powerful 76mm gun directly onto the Tiger's thick frontal plate. It doesn't penetrate, but the massive force of the hit shakes Wessel to the core.
Zurück, jetzt!
In their haste, the Germans back the 70-ton tank straight through the wall of a house, and the roof comes crashing down. The driver attempts to drive the Tiger out, but the engine dies. Without a gun or an engine, Wessel is quick to order the tank to be abandoned. He and his crew escape the stranded Tiger II before more shots can find their mark. They race back towards the bridge and find only 3 German tanks. The rest have already backed up behind cover and across the bridge.
PAK auf den Straßen, schalt sie auf!
Jawohl.
Wessel sends a second King Tiger out to the American anti-tank defenses, while he goes to a third and commandeers it. Meanwhile, to the west, Piper is being held up by an American defense. A much-needed bridge is destroyed by a small group of engineers from an American garrison. He's devastated. Days of delay and fighting have been added to the operation in front of his very eyes.
Verdammte Pioniere.
But it gets worse. He gets word that Stavelot is under attack and orders Sturmbannführer Gustav Nittel to take his battalion and turn back towards Stavelot. Meanwhile, back in Stavelot, Wessel's hold over the bridge is tenuous and he needs to get the rest of his tanks across. As they roll across the bridge, a terrifying sound is heard. It's American planes. The tank commander's eyes look skyward as a pair of P-47 fighters drop through the clouds. The planes dive towards the bridge as the King Tigers are about to cross. They try to hurry, but are caught in the open. The American aircraft fire rockets at the column. Men dive for cover as explosions fall all around the front of the convoy. The Thunderbolts disappear as quickly as they arrived, leaving carnage
Gib mir
behind
deinen
them.
Zustandsbericht.
Die Führungsfahrzeuge sind bewegungsunfähig. Wir sitzen fest.
With their biggest guns stuck behind the damaged tanks, German infantry are now without heavy support and get pushed back house by house. Any cover is annihilated by the American Sherman's main cannons. Meanwhile, the mighty King Tigers left doing little more than firing from the sidelines as their commanders see their men destroyed in the narrow streets. What's left of the battered German soldiers make their way across the bridge to the south of the river, leaving Stavelot in American hands. With the sun falling under the horizon, the bridge becomes no man's land. Under the cover of dark, both armies prepare. M10s and Shermans take ambush positions, while the German panzer crews rush to fix the 2 disabled King Tigers, blocking the way. They successfully remove bent road wheels jamming the system, and the wounded Tigers are back on the move, albeit limping. Taking advantage of the extremely heavy fog, the wounded Tigers move forward and escape past the Americans to the west. On the south side of the river, commandos from the German special unit Stavelot are dressed in American uniforms in an attempt to fool the Allies. A column of them are ordered to ride captured American jeeps and head to Stavelot. They've been pretending to be American troops to catch the enemy by surprise as part of the Battle of the Bulge. Arriving at the bridge, they hope their disguise will get them across. The men sit with their hearts in their mouths. They make it halfway across the bridge. Their objective is within sight. But the Americans are wise to their deception, and the thunder of machine guns rips through the night, destroying the entire column. The Tigers that have been in the south now advance. The first Tiger, number 222, braves the open ground from the south of the river. An M10 tank destroyer crew across the river see it emerge and aim square at its flank. The 76mm main gun fires, and slams into the Tiger's hull, right above the tracks. Tiger 222 comes to an immediate halt. The M10 follows up with a second shot that rips off the frontal plate, and then a third that punches clean through the side armour once again. The German crew throw out a smoke grenade and escape through the fog of war. The instant defeat of the lead Tiger kills the momentum of the southern attack. On the northwest, Nittel's armour and infantry push towards the American positions through heavy artillery fire. Explosions rock the earth, which are shrugged off by the Tigers, but devastating the exposed infantry. But they're still pushing the Americans back through Stavelot and threaten to reach the bridge. The Allied commanders realise they might not be able to hold the bridge, so they do the next best thing. A team of US engineers are deployed from the reserve. They race to the riverbank on a jeep covered by lines of machine gunners and anti-tank weapons, all the while exchanging fire with the Germans on the other side. Acting fast, they get under the bridge and rig it up to explode with 1,000 pounds of explosives. All the while, bullets and shells whizzing over their heads. Then, they quickly light the fuse and retreat. The explosion resonates throughout the battlefield. For the German leadership, it drowns out every other communication. It's done. Further west, Piper is already 3 towns away, hugging the river in search of gasoline. His tanks are almost out of fuel and in desperate need of a resupply. Then he gets the news.
Pioniere haben die Brücke von Stavelot gesprengt.
Piper looks furious.
Mit allem angreifen! Überquert den Fluss oder sterbt bei dem Versuch!
On the early morning of December the 20th, hundreds of SS troops descend into the river. When suddenly, Allied heavy artillery falls upon them. The few survivors that make it out on the other side of the river are cut down. On the west flank, the Americans are pushed back by Nittel's forces, but the Germans suffer withering fire, and the cost is paid by the German infantry. A King Tiger number 133 is caught by an M10 tank destroyer, and it fires its 76mm cannon into the Tiger's heavy armour, its massive impact going through the fighting compartment.
Feuer! Feuer!
The M10 pulls back just in time before the Tiger's massive shell flies past in front of them. The American crew quickly radio the location of the German tank. 3 Shermans answer the call and close in on the position of the King Tiger. The German crew advance towards the M10 when the first Sherman appears from a side street. But they have no time to react. The Sherman fires into its turret. The shell ricochets with devastating force. Moments later, another Sherman emerges and fires a second shot into the hull of the Tiger, the impact being absorbed by its heavy armour. The King Tiger swings its turret towards the targets, but the Shermans reverse into cover before they can get the shot. The heavy tank is too slow and unwieldy to respond. The commander knows he's in deep trouble. His armour matters for little if he can't hit back. A shell streaks across the battlefield and strikes the Tiger right between the turret and the hull. The round pushes the 2 plates apart, squeezing through the turret ring and into the fighting compartment. The radio operator is killed, and it damages the transmission, but the tank can still move. Damaged, the Tiger flees from the Shermans. Heading out of town at full speed and leaking hydraulic fluid, the crew are confounded as one of the tracks jams. Unable to steer, the crew are forced to abandon the tank in a ditch by the side of the road. The King has fallen. The advance from the west stalls, and the rest of the Tigers are wary of meeting the same fate. The German effort has totally crumbled. Nittel is left with only one choice, which is to order a full retreat. West of Stavelot, Piper and his men have run out of fuel, and with Allies closing in, they're forced to abandon their tanks to escape on foot. Their mission is a total failure.
Verdammte Pioniere!
Joachim Peiper survived the war, despite his active participation in many atrocities. He only served 12 years in prison. Did you hear one of our superior Tigers defeated over 40 Soviet tanks? The Soviets said it never happened. Well, who do you believe? Watch this film and let us know.